Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, your cosmic GPS for life, love, and everything written in the stars. We're Tali and Ophira Edut, the AstroTwins, here to decode the astrology of the moment and help you navigate your destiny like a pro.
September is coming in hot. This week, September 1st to 7th, is not going to give us a break from intense transits basically every day. But some really major ones. We start with Saturn retrograde in Pisces and end with a total lunar eclipse in Pisces on Sunday. Let's get into it. This week is on. So here we are, still in Seattle before Ophie flies out today.
Flies out tonight. I am holding my own, private funeral for summer, wearing a polarizing citrus printed romper.
I like it.
Yeah, you like it. My 14-year-old daughter hates it, which probably means I could get away with wearing it here and there. But,
it does have a little bit of a golf cart in a desert adult facility look to it.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how I feel about it, but that
You can leave it here now.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's how we build our wardrobes. Like, how does this look on me?
It's really cute.
All right.
Really cute.
You want it? Yeah.
She's a Libra. She only wears gray anyways. So
yeah, it's true. But it doesn't matter because I won't be wearing it probably anytime soon again, as it is. I don't know. Some people summer. I'm on team summer. And now I'm on Team Conrad on the summer I turned pretty. But that's a story for another day because there's so much going on, like Tali said. So
a little bit of endless summer might come back in on Monday because Saturn, the planet of endurance, is moving into beachy Pisces. So Saturn's been retrograde since July 13th. Saturn is one of our divine pendulum planets this year. Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are swinging back and forth between two signs. And now Saturn swung forward into Aries on May 24th. And it turned retrograde in Aries.
Now, this is the first time Saturn's been in Aries since 1999. So we definitely had a pre-millennium flashback going on here. So I think it probably has a lot to do with all the fighting. I mean, Gavin Newsom is a Saturn in Aries, and he's in his Saturn return. So I think he has made a heroic showing. But now Saturn is going to round out its tour of Pisces. It started in March of 2023 and brought a lot of Piscean innovation to the culture. So
I mean, like the rise of all the GLP-1s like Ozempic and Mounjaro and
the
Pisces
mainstreaming,
pharmaceuticals and the mains. But I mean, God, people are just getting so scary skinny on it. Like Meghan Trainor is all about that treble now. There's no bass left in her.
There is no bass. No.
And I'm like, come on, like as a proud thick chick, like I just feel like I refuse, even though could I, do I sometimes get annoyed that certain clothes are a little snug, but I just really feel like we've always been body image warriors. Our dentist, our orthodontist, when we were 14, pulled our mom aside and was like, now that their teeth are perfect, he wanted to give us nose and lip reduction surgery. I was like, fuck you, dude. Not happening. It was like,
luckily our mom,
thank God, it looked like everyone else.
Yeah. So,
and same thing with what's on trend. It was plus, it's like if you follow trends and shape your body to trends, it's like, hi, we are in the cookie cutter nation. No, thank you.
Fun fact, the last time Saturn was in Aries, I published my very first book before astrology. It was called Adios Barbie. And it's still out there. It's a multicultural, body positive anthology. And Mattel decided to sue my publisher to shut it down. They did use trademarked images of Barbie's body parts and shoes on the cover, but the ACLU even picked it up. There's a New
Got
York
involved to
Times
defend
article
you.
in
Yeah.
1999, but they ended up settling it to change the name of it to Body Outlaws. And the idea behind it was that for a woman to like her body was so weird that a woman would actually like and accept her body at the time that she became like an outlaw living on the margins of society.
It's starting to become that way again. And by the way, no shade. I have good friends who are having really positive results, especially in perimenopause using GLPs. And there's a lot of things that are really promising in terms of how they help with, it's not fully proven yet, but there's starting to be data that says they can help with everything from dementia to heart disease. I'm all for that. I think it's just the whole like, I am going to make myself as, it's like finally I get to be thin. The summer I turned skinny, and it's just like,
And I can't even fault people who do it for that because we know we live, that's why I named the book Body Outlaws. It takes a lot to live as an outlaw. You end up living on the margins of society. You don't get to participate in some of the perks of society without that, especially for these women who are celebrities. So, like, I'm not going to blame the women for,
or men either.
or men or anyone who's like wants to get to fully express themselves or thinks that they will.
It's better than having like Nazi Jillian Michaels like screaming in your face to like exhaust like
Yeah. Oh
it
my
doesn't. I mean, I saw we talked about this last week, how there was that documentary, I think it's on Netflix, of like The Biggest Loser and the behind the scenes of it, and how everybody who was on there basically like gained all the weight back. Very
That's
few
what
people.
happens. I think, 90, I think it was like 90% of people who dieted, this was like an old People magazine stat, regained all the weight they lost within 5 years. And I think most of them gained back even more than they had lost. And that's what's so heartbreaking. Like people are being sold this bill of goods that they will be able to change and have access to all these perks. And as someone who has like gone up and down sizes at various points in my life through modification of things like that, it's true, you do get access to things, but you soon realize that it's unsustainable to live a certain way. And so, I think with Saturn going back into Pisces, maybe we will actually, I think it's going to be the final round because this is the last time Saturn's going to go through Pisces, and then it's not going to come back for another 29, 30 years. So I think we're going to see some of the balance to the pharmaceutical rise and also plant medicine, psychedelics that fell under Saturn and Pisces as well. Pisces rules all those kind of nebulous, unconscious, subconscious realms. And so
we have to talk about Saturn kind of being corporate too, and how there's some corporatization going on around psilocybin, corporatization of all of these GLP-1s, even hormone replacement therapy, huge strides. I don't know if it's just the age group we're in, but everyone's talking about their estradiol patch around us. And I think it's like something that younger women and even men and all genders are catching wind of. It's like
there was a whole
HRT,
thing
not
that
just
someone
for the
did,
trans community anymore.
I think it was Tamsin Fatal. She did a whole thing like show your patch and like lifted up her shirt to show where her little round estrogen patch and encouraged women to do that and normalize it. So to the millennial and Gen Z girlies who have not yet had the need for that, you're welcome on behalf of Gen X, I would say,
Right.
because you do not have to suffer. Another thing that's ruled by Pisces, which I think is going to come into the spotlight, is prisons and mental health and all these detention centers, the cruelty.
And by the way, there are huge, I mean, it was Saturn, also corporate Saturn. Let's talk. We wrote about that a few years ago in
Yeah.
our I think it was our 2023 planner about Core Civic, the company that owns all these private prisons. And if you really look, I mean, so many people are investing in them on the right too.
Disgusting,
I
yeah.
mean, they're big money, and if actually the laws around slave labor, like you're allowed to use slave labor with people who are incarcerated. It's only illegal for people who are free, so to speak. So, I mean, there's like just the layers, because if you're wondering, I mean, now I sound like QAnon and I'm so not that, but I'm like, it's scary. There are like Project 2025, the layers and the plans, like these are some diabolical plans. Neptune will be going back into Pisces too for one last hurrah on October 22nd. So we're rounding out these long phases. Saturn's the first one to slip back, but all the Pisces out there, you have been in boot camp since March 7th, 2023. It has not been easy on the fish out there, or Pisces risings who have had Saturn and Neptune going over their ascendant out of the 12th into the first. So it's like, whew, this is just one last little push. I have heard, I think Susan Miller, I remember reading her saying this, and I'm gonna roll with this from her, but that you get a gift once Saturn leaves your sign. Like, but and
If
it's
you do the
great.
right thing and you do the hard work, and
It's
because
like
Saturn is
graduating.
Lord Karma too, so like whatever you have invested in, you get to collect on your investment, and if you've invested in being a ruthless jerk, then you will collect on that too.
Anyways, Saturn and Pisces and Neptune together in Pisces, as they have been for the last basically 2.5 years, has been so weird. And they're going to be together in Aries too. I mean, they have been this year. Like, they're just such opposing forces. Saturn is like the planet of reality, the planet of boundaries, and Neptune is the boundary dissolver, the dreamer. It's about escape, as well as Ophi was saying, things that you want to escape from. Did you want to say something else about the corporate prisons? I just jumped in there.
No, I think, that's what these detention centers are intended to be, source of free labor. And just last week, I talked about human design and 2027, which you're going to be hearing more about from us, and just how we are at the end of this 400-year cycle that is in its shadow phase with all the kind of 1% of wealth and the evils that are going on that people are doing to each other. So February 15th, 2027 kind of can't come soon enough. That's the date that we end this cycle. I'm not going to get into that too much because there's so much happening. You can listen to last week's episode to hear a little more of a deep dive on that. But for now, I would say it's Pisces, like we said, Pisces bookending the week, and Pisces is very much about what's hiding, what lies beneath, what's hiding in the fog and the shadows. Like, with a total lunar eclipse being like a giant, shocking spotlight at the end of the week, and Saturn retrograding, digging up, I feel like these Epstein files and everything are gonna, like, the receipts are basically about to float up. Imagine like the message in the bottle washing ashore on the ocean,
Yeah.
full of receipts. And I think, that's even timed with some of the things that are happening.
Well, Saturn is the ruler of time, Lord Kronos, but in Pisces, it's like the Kairos time. And so I remember you learning in Kabbalah when you were studying a little bit that like Tell us again about
Oh,
there's a
yeah.
lag between like basically
One of my favorite books that I have recommended, like Nevermind, whatever like any organization will have its, corruption or
never mind the
whatever.
culty shit.
Yeah,
Just say it.
exactly. The
Okay.
book, The Power of Kabbalah, which is from the teachings of Rav Berg. I love a good alien download. So, it talks about how time is a trickster and how, especially when it comes to karma. So, um, one of the chapters, and there are these very short chapters, it talked about how when people do harm against one another and they get away with it, they're being tricked into thinking that they actually did. And see, I got away with it, so maybe I'll do more. But it does catch up with them later on. So it's one of the ways, the Kabbalah says that the universe will test us. Uh, so it's,
So
I don't know.
time is I have to
I
talk
like
about
I like to just tell myself that for survival
well, Mercury's
purposes.
going into Virgo on Tuesday, till September 18th. So it's very much about the data, the analysis, the facts and figures. So thank God that's kind of like like the court checker while there's all this Pisces madness and numinous energy floating around. It's like data, facts, facts, facts. Let's hear it. I have to tell. I'm apparently late to this party, although it's kind of 50-50 which friends have heard of this. But we have to talk about the time traveling,
Oh yeah,
almost not a conspiracy theory, but so
so
freaking bizarre.
crazy.
So have you guys heard about this? About I've seen these books pop up somehow in my Amazon feed, the Baron Trump books by an author in the 1800s was his time period, which was Neptune and Aries, Ingersoll Lockwood, and he wrote this series of books about this kid named Baron Trump. I shit you not. This is true. So much that I have to just start cursing because, and the two adventures of Baron Trump, and then there was one called 1900, The Last President. I actually took a screenshot of this because it's so crazy. Hang on. Filled with exotic flights of fancy, the Baron Trump tales feature the titular character, a wealthy boy who lives in Trump Castle. His actual name is Wilhelm Heinrich Sebastian von Trump, but
Hmm,
for the sake of simplicity, he goes by his title of Baron Trump. The
can't
young
blame them.
the young fellow embarks on time traveling adventures through human history. Through his travels, he meets societies of people and tribes from long ago, picking up their language and social customs. Accompanied by his faithful and protective companion hound Bulger, the young baron navigates a variety of adventures and surmounts many obstacles. The final book discusses the rise of a U.S. president and has been variously described as coincidental or prescient of the 21st century political climate. Set in America, this is so weird, torn by division, there are references to a hotel on Fifth Avenue in New York and an election of an outsider candidate ensuing amid chaos. Okay, but that's not the end of it.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't even
We
end
are in
there.
full Pisces, by the way. Live demonstration of Pisces here.
Live demonstration.
Conspiracy, but this is actually true.
Yeah, like you're like, that can't be true. Wait, it freaking is. So the author Ingersoll Lockwood lived near Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla died on the same street apparently as Ingersoll Lockwood in old New York and was working on a time machine. He swore that he had invented and figured out how time travel could work, and then he dies.
I believe
So,
it. He was a Cancer.
yeah, I mean, he was, Tesla coils. He was a genius. Actually, Thomas Edison took credit for a whole lot of his work. He was
Yeah,
Edison's assistant. Yep. Um,
Aquarius.
yeah, so there's another one. We could go down that rabbit hole, but we won't. So who was sent in to review Tesla's papers and files, but a man by the name of John G. Trump, brother Fred Trump, the genius MIT uncle of Donnie himself. And he actually was a genius in the electric engineering department, and he did some good things. He figured out how to use radiation to cure or start to cure cancer. He's at the foundation of that. However, what did he do with Nikola Tesla's papers? Oh, nothing to see here, folks. So the whole conspiracy is
Stuffed
that
him down his shirt.
right, the
Left out.
Trumps have been time traveling. This Baron Trump thing is, who knows? Maybe, maybe Don was read that as a
We dropped Donald back off in the 80s where it looks like he's stuck anyway. I mean,
How about the 1880s? That would
yeah.
be
How
good.
about just 80 AD?
Yeah, ooh, love to see him with his athletic prowess. He'd surely make it in those
Wow.
times. So, anyways, isn't that crazy? I mean, that's nuts. But Google or go to Wikipedia, look up John G. Trump, and you will actually see the account.
It sounded so crazy to us. We were like, there's no way. But Tali did the research and checked the receipts. Again, it's the week of receipts. And indeed, this is true. So it's got my mind really spinning. I'm like, who is he? What is he?
What was that
Is going
popular
on?
science report you talked about last week too, where they said that those feelings you get are actually it's like information from the
Like when you get an
future,
intuitive hit about something, you may actually have timeline jumped.
a memory from the future, kind of.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually from the future. Not
Look,
so.
Uranus is in Gemini now, and that's
Get
another
ready for this kind of wacky talk. It's going to be around for another 8 years. But yes, that is another one of this week's
Saturday.
plans.
Uranus is going retrograde. So it's a divine pendulum planet. It's been in Taurus for a really long time, since May 2018. And just this July 7th, it popped forward into Gemini. And that's a very different vibe.
Yeah. Uranus and Taurus was Uranus is progress, innovation, it's all the futuristic stuff. And Taurus is money. So of course we've had all the crypto revolution since 2018. We've had, all the cashless businesses, the gig economy hitting its peak, and
Even
so
supply chain disruptions
we've had
and all
two
that.
Taurus
Tariffs. Oh,
had
God.
two Taurus oligarchs, Sam Altman, who's a triple Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and then a couple other
Mark
placements, Mark
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg. So, with all the tech going on, so there's Tauruses have definitely. I feel like Taurus is a very analog sign, and they were definitely struggling until Uranus came to their sign. So, but Uranus is in what's called fall in Taurus. It's not comfortable there. Taurus hates change. Uranus is all about constant change and progress. So it was a bumpy time.
Yeah.
Uranus in Gemini since July 7th has been a little bit more in sync. Gemini is about multimedia and all. It's very compatible with Uranus, Uranian energy. The last time it was there was the 1940s, but that wasn't really the best time. A lot of progress in technology and nuclear power were abused and misused then too. So we need to make sure that we learned our lessons the last time. This particular moment in history, humanity collectively does not seem to be into having learned its lessons. But we'll
Maybe,
we'll keep hoping for that.
Uranus, its retrograde
It is going to go back into Taurus for one last hurrah, November 7th of this year until next April 25th
Yeah,
of 2026. Yeah, so we have one more round of almost 6 months, and then it'll be gone for 84 years. So again, this could be an interesting time. Interesting is a word that astrologers that could mean so many things. It could be another round of changes and revolutions to the economy, to money, to all those Taurian
I'm
themes.
wondering if that, between Saturn slipping back into Pisces, Uranus turning retrograde in Gemini, there's been a lot, there was a whole big thing this last week about Trump disappearing and not being seen, and he has the bruise on his hand,
And Gemini rules the hand, so
Uranus
see
in
what's
his
going
sign,
on there.
he's
Yeah.
a Gemini, Uranus retrograde in his sign. Like what, you know, we won't even say it, but it's
Better get in that time machine, Donnie, and go backwards. Just go somewhere. We need you out of our future.
we have to talk about the insanity that's happening at the CDC under Maha Capricorn, RFK Jr. Susan Manara, a microbiologist. She wasn't a doctor, but hey, you want a microbiologist. You want someone to understand what they're looking at under the microscope. As well, she was fired as the director because she refused to go along with RFK Jr.'s suppression of facts and his unsubstantiated claims about vaccines and autism and all sorts of other,
Now he's linking mass shootings to
with
SSRIs.
SSRIs, and now a whole bunch of the top doctors have resigned because they refuse to work under the guy that he's replaced Menarez with, John O'Neill. John O'Neill happens to be the villain Libra, one of the villain Libras that are, I'm sorry, Libras, you don't have to claim them, but Peter Thiel. So Peter Thiel's investment director, who has no actual experience in this realm, is now running the CDC, guys. How, like, dystopian is this shit? Like, do you want the investment director to be deciding, like, let's say we have another pandemic? Well, Peter Thiel supports, he doesn't even want the human race to survive.
The biggest
He literally
no,
said
he doesn't.
that.
He's
He
like
doesn't
wants
care.
trans. He wants us to be
Transhuman.
to be crossbred with AI robots. The guy is a sicko and
He is.
nothing short. He's like literally unwell. So this past week, August 27th, was the 1 year publication anniversary of our book, The Astrology Advantage, which many of you guys have. If you don't, it is out in paperback, hardcover, Audible, read by us, and Kindle. So I was looking back through some of the podcasts we were on, and they were all amazing except for one with a popular radio host who I'm not even going to give the dignity of naming because he doesn't deserve it. But we were on his show, and never have we been treated so disrespectfully in our lives. He was an absolute pig, and not really that surprised. Yeah, total MAGA manosphere. But I wasn't really. Tali was prepared for it, and she went head to head with him. But I was in so much shock. It took me a minute to. But he started to ask us about RFK Jr. and I was watching back, and he was like, "What do you think of him?" And I was like, "He's viable." He was like, "Are you out of your mind? That's the biggest bunch of BS I've ever heard. How stupid are you?" Kind of stuff. He was like just basically assaulting my intelligence. He's like, you're saying he's some kind of corporate shill for what? And I was like, yeah, I think he can be bought. And I remember like how I was like, should I have said that? But I just felt it with so much conviction. I just feel, and I'm sure you probably do. It's not hard to not feel that around that disingenuous lizard people give off the vibe of it. But it was so clear. I was like, this guy is up to no good. He's posing as a third party candidate. He's from one of the wealthiest, most connected families in the United States. He has an agenda. He's a Capricorn. No offense, because there are many, many good Capricorns, but we've just insulted, qualifying
all the
I just,
cardinals.
Libras,
Yeah.
we love you. Gavin Newsom, you're redeeming the entire lot of any of them that are doing harm. But when a Capricorn is in their shadow, they are purely shilling for big is pure greed and empire takeover building. So I was like, why does this guy does not care? He does not care. I just knew it. And anyway, it was satisfying to watch that we had been right, but
Satisfying and horrifying. I'm gonna blame Mercury being retrograde during our launch. I was like, oh yeah, we should have done our that was one of those oops, we should have really done our research. But I started to a little too late
it was
and I saw
pre-election, and I think I mark that as a moment of like,
it was a
oh,
good fight. I mean,
there's yeah.
disgusting trolls in the comments, just saying the stupidest things that like the hair pulling BMX riding jerks on our block in Michigan. Oh, who called us oofy and toofy, or then they thought they were so funny, would say. But it's like, you know what? I feel proud of going head to head with that asshole. It was a defiant moment, you know? Whatever. I wasn't expecting it, but it was like he went right in with talking about how the states should control abortion, and it was like
Yeah, we stood up to him and we kept our
trashing
cool. And
Kamala.
looking back, I feel good about that, but I also am uh I'm also like, that was when I really, really knew that there was no real interest in dialogue. I remember when Gavin Newsom tried to have a podcast and have Steve Bannon on. You realize
And
when,
scary as Charlie Kirk.
oh God, you realize they're not interested in talking. They're
No.
interested in using any platform that they can to push an insidious agenda. So it was, I'm glad I learned that when I did.
Yeah, it's really hard because you want to read. You want to think that we should be able to talk it out, but it's not about that anymore. It's really about, as you've been saying this year, it's like humanity is the word of the year. So what does humanity need rather than fighting? It's like this is
Well,
where
Uranus and Gemini. Gemini is that dialogue, that back and forth, but Uranus is this very hot-headed, divisive, and I feel like Uranus and Taurus is really what created the polarizing, because Taurus is so fixed and
conservative.
stubborn and dig in your heels and be right. And with the Uranian kind of the technology, I mean, the algorithm, the silos, what people are being fed on their news feed, depending on what you know, their leaning has really reached its peak. And now with Uranus and Gemini going retrograde, like possibly Uranus retrograde in Gemini will bring some dialogues or some changed minds, I think, over the next couple of months. It's like this is the year that everything gets worse and better at the same time. Or you think, oh wow, all these people are defecting from MAGA because of the Epstein files. Nope, nope, they're still there. So it's just, it doesn't matter. It's like, what do we put our energy and our attention?
Well, MAGA has given people it's a cult. It's given people an ideal to feel like they belong and that they stand for something. We're gonna make it safe. It's just like what happened on January 6th. Like people are being tricked into thinking that they're fighting for something. That's what Maha has done too. And one thing we
And
have to
all these illusions. I mean, we're in the Virgo-Pisces.
We're in eclipse
corridor
season,
in the
start.
signs of health. That's mental and physical health. So the CDC and all the things that we're talking about here. I mean, we have a second eclipse in Virgo, which is a sign of health and wellness, on September 21st. That one's a solar eclipse, so it'll be a new start. I don't know if it's going to be for the better or the worse, but like I said, all the receipts are going to wash ashore first over the couple weeks prior to that, starting this week with Saturn and Pisces and the total lunar eclipse. So we'll just have to watch and see. Eclipses bring shocking turns of event that really can't be
Exposing.
predicted. Yeah.
But also they can also conceal and create false information. It's I
It's true.
just think all of this sort of fits inside the context of Pluto and Aquarius as well.
Yeah.
Like what's been happening is that the trust in government for many is being eroded. It's like, okay, the CDC is going to say that autism is a disease that is caused by vaccines, even though it's been disproven by science.
I feel
Well,
like
for
dog
today,
on the
we're not going to
bone,
listen to
frickin' RFK just wants that. He wants, that's like, yeah.
what's his problem with autism? Like, what's his deal with like, why is he so anti-neurodivergent people? Like, it's downright, it's just another ism, another discriminatory thing coming from this group. But they're
Project.
eroding all, it's like, okay, you can't count on the government for anything, but pay them taxes and they'll put it in their pockets and not use it to make your life better. Now you can't have Social Security that you paid in for. You can't have Medicaid. You can't have social services. Okay, well, why do we even have a country? Okay, civil war. I mean, what is their end game here? Like, okay, just it's the biggest grift. It's disgusting. It's disturbing. It feels like they're trying to literally wipe out parts of humanity. I can't help but
Or
feel like,
enslave for their own enrichment.
right,
We're
like,
going really
yeah.
time traveling in the absolute wrong direction. Even as we barrel toward the future with all this tech and AI, our values are traveling backwards. I just saw that Stephen Miller's disgusting wife, Katie, has a new podcast for conservative women because they never get to be heard, and it's about time. It's like one of the things that has happened with
Ugh.
Saturn in Pisces and now in Aries, it's gotten 10,000 times more obnoxious and amplified, is that people are branding themselves as victims who are not victims.
What's that? I'm saying they're like the biggest snowflakes are the ones who've accused are on the right now. Like they were up in arms about the Cracker Barrel logo being like they couldn't even handle like bring back our Cracker Barrel logo. Like they were like it would cause them to like I mean they might as
It's
well
so
protest
interesting because,
it
like, my
in
graphic
the country
designer,
store.
yeah, my graphic design mind is like, okay, it looks way better. And then, like, having grown up in Michigan, I literally have never gone to a Cracker Barrel. Just something about it made me go like, I don't think they like Jews in there.
I know.
It's like I never
The
felt
ye
like,
old country store
and
do
no,
that
it's
in
just
the
something. I
gift
mean, I
shop.
love a country store, and we grew up in Detroit, where we have the Henry Ford Museum in a place called Greenfield Village, where you could literally go back in time and experience what life was like. They have Thomas Edison's workshop there, replicated.
I know
So
it's
I
pretty cool.
love an old
You mean Nikola
country.
Tesla's
Oh
workshop?
yeah,
I'm kidding.
exactly, exactly.
No
Hello.
mention of him, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't see any Tesla coils at Greenfield Village, but
Don't worry,
we got to
Elon
like
put
make
them in.
candles and churn butter and try on old hats. So I'm here for that. But with Cracker Barrel, I think it's like it's this weird thing. Again, this like faux victim, like that's our heritage. Well, guess what? It's not. It's this whole idea that like farming and country is like white, not white European immigrants' heritage. No, it's
Right.
not.
Beyonce had to
Everyone,
disabuse him of that,
yeah, like
Who do you think was
everyone
in the fucking
farms.
fields when this country was built, too?
Exactly.
Not too
So,
many white people.
no. So it's just, it's like, and yeah, so of course, it's like we are this year again, like 2025 is kind of a write-off. It's a 9-year in numerology. Like you can't even stand for progress without some go woke or go broke, quote unquote. Everyone who's actually standing up for progress and inclusivity is called an activist. I was at a
Cool.
dinner with
Radical
like
left activists.
it was so weird that surprised me earlier this year. I was at a dinner of like women in business, and a lot of finance, and one of the women who's a very conservative company, but she was just like, so what do we do? What do you all do? I was just kind of listening in. I was there as the astrologer, but they were like, what are we doing about the activists? I was like, what does she mean, the activists? And then I realized she was talking about like literally like, oh my God, someone wants to hold your wealth endowed company accountable for the people it's hurting with its activities and to do ethical business. And it's like now calling someone an activist has become a slur. Everything is inside
It's so
out.
crazy. Like, remember just a mere year ago when it wasn't a slur? I mean, it's just like, wow, that happened fast.
So this is the weird, well, a mere year ago was when we had the first eclipse in Pisces. I think it was September 17th of 2024. And we can look back, we're halfway through. They officially end February 2027, these Virgo Pisces eclipses, but it's like when life literally feels surreal, when facts, which is Virgo, and fantasy, which is Pisces, get all mixed up inside out and upside down. So, and on top of it, combined with the 9 year, it's just it's just a year of
It's just a shit
a
show of a
shit
year.
show. That's the only word.
I mean, we have one day this week still to talk about that's important. On Thursday, Mars, which is in Libra in detriment, is squaring Jupiter, which is exalted in Cancer. So Mars is the warrior, the combatant, but also the trailblazer. And it's in detriment, meaning it's in a weakened position because it's in Libra, the opposite sign to Aries, which is the sign that Mars naturally rules. So Mars is, I mean, hey, if that weakens some of this, it doesn't seem to be stopping Putin from bombing Ukraine, and Israel killed the leader of the Houthis, and I'm sure we'll see more and more such. I mean, Mars, the sign of war, I mean, the planet of war and the sign of peace is
Got
just
that
a
till
head
September
trip.
22nd.
September, but it's squaring, meaning it's forming this 90-degree angle to Jupiter, which also doesn't mind a war. Jupiter's the expander. It's a little bit of a Viking. I kind of think
Cancer.
of it. It's in Cancer, exalted. Weird. It's weird that Jupiter, the is exalted in Cancer, but that's what was decided by the, Hellenistic astrologers when they're looking at essential dignities. But in some ways, it's like you get to feel at home anywhere in the world. So that's how Jupiter is global,
And Mars
Cancer is
squaring
home.
Jupiter could be trying to make yourself at home anywhere in the world, even if it isn't your home.
A lot of egos, a lot of bluster, but I do like that the House Oversight Committee, which is both Republican and Democrat, are going to hear testimony from, I don't know if it's testimony or they're interviewing. A number of Epstein's victims are coming to talk to the House Oversight Committee. I think it's on Tuesday. So what could blow up from that? I mean, all of these shenanigans and distractions are like also trying to everything's covering up all the crimes. Don't look here. Trump's making millions from his crypto, offering gold cards to people,
Well,
pretending he's not
yeah.
in the Epstein files. I mean,
And
I don't,
Jupiter is luck. Cancer is women. And we have
yeah,
two of
can
the
that.
worst women ever in power. Pam Bondi, who's a Scorpio, Christy Nome, who we will be disowning from our zodiac sign of Sagittarius. So with Mars and Libra squaring Jupiter, maybe a fight for justice is ahead. So I don't know. Let's throw Marjorie Taylor
I
Greene
was
on that
just thinking
list
that.
too. Women, get it together. There are some like, oh my,
Katie
Katie
Miller.
Miller, all of these
This whole
sellout women.
this whole like rebranding of the conservative woman as a like what does it even mean to be a conservative woman though?
Right. I
Like what
never
does
had an
that
issue
mean,
with
Pete? Does
that. You
that
want to
mean
be
that you want
traditional, just don't tread on me.
or like I mean Pete
Not to use
Hegseth
their
Pastor, what's his name? He's another there's so many I'm sorry, but Geminis have been just layering up, and there's some great ones out there too. We're doing lots of zodiac disclaimers this week, but like Hegseth is a Gemini along with Trump. But what's his name again? Pastor Doug Wilson, who was on a crusade like against women being able to vote. I mean, is that what you want? Conservative women, do you want to just like have a baby? No one's stopping you from having 10 kids. We don't care.
Again, I think like
You
why
can't
are
guarantee they're gonna come
what's in
out.
it for you? What's
Right,
in it for you? Are you getting like what is the grand prize here? That you get to be with a man who hates women? You
right.
get access to power that's going to be gated at a certain point to you, as long as you get to be daddy's favorite little girl. I mean, do we just have a bunch of daddy issues out there that need to be resolved with therapists instead of um, podcasts and hate-filled government posts being the
And
henchwomen
Caroline
women?
Leave It. It's just like,
Oh yeah, she's
daddy,
Virgo.
daddy, and like I said, daddy, and like I said, dad. I mean, it's like everything that comes out of her mouth. It's like, my God, Stockholm syndrome, like somebody
It's a cult, like you said. The lady flying monkeys are on full
flying
display.
monkeys.
So let's see what these eclipses do. Let's see what Saturn retrograde
Ooh,
to Pisces does. There is a possibility of a return to
compassion.
compassionate values. I just like to see it make a dent. I know that Governor Pritzker of Illinois is going head to head with Trump. He's a January 19th Capricornius. Don't know which one. We'd have to look it up, but somebody do the right thing. Follow the Gavin Newsom lead,
I think
please.
Pete Buttigieg is the 18th, but
Hmm.
RFK Jr. is the 17th. There's a lot of like
There's a lot of
clusters of
like
Capricorn Gemini
POT and
energy.
Gavin Newsom are born a day apart, same year. So it's
Mhm.
like, this is your moment. Which side are you on here? Are you on the side of shadows or light? So it is quite a year.
And of course, their whole birth charts count too. As
Yeah.
everyone knows, it's not just the sun sign, and
And
but
speaking of birth charts, before we send you off into this wily week,
right.
we are pretty booked, but we have some openings for birth chart readings this fall if you'd like some guidance and direction for yourself. And we are also less than 2 weeks away from the start of our Astropreneurs Fall Mastermind, which is if you are a creator, an entrepreneur, or someone who wants to take your weird idea and turn it into a business
Using your birth chart.
using your birth chart. We are teaching all the techniques and tools that we have used to do this astrology thing, turn a fun quirky hobby into a global platform reaching millions, including 22 books and counting, an Amazon Prime Video, a reality show, and best of all, an amazing and loyal audience of people who are on the side of good and inclusivity and love for humanity, as that we get to serve and talk to and meet and create for every day. So we're here to create more of these astropreneurs on the planet and help you thrive. Because I'll tell you, as horrible as it is to live in this world, getting to put my focus and attention on doing something purposeful and meaningful, it doesn't get rid of how I feel about what's happening in the world, but it certainly provides an alternate channel that I can switch to and feel like
we don't have to become victims of the oligarchs and their plans to overtake our brains with their transhumanist microchips and their, ridiculous, I don't know, AIification of everything. AI only goes so far. We need humans. We want to be around other
You can
humans.
use your chat GPT to support you, but we need your human creations. So if you're curious about what happens in Astropreneurs or where you should be heading this fall with your plans, join us this Thursday, September 4th, for a free live webinar, Astrology of Success, where we're going to be doing live readings. For anyone who comes on, you'll get, raise your hand and we will pull up your birth chart, look at what you're planning or might be planning or what you already have underway, and give you what we call a little astro audit of it. We'll help you see how what you're up to, what you're creating is aligned with the current stars, your stars, and share some of the tools that we teach in Astropreneurs, from setting your prices to finding your kindred spirit customers, we call it, to how to create messaging and content that really connects with the person you're trying to serve. So we'll drop the link in the bio for astrology readings, for Astropreneurs, and for our free Astrology of Success webinar on Thursday, September 4th. If you're not celebrating Beyonce's birthday,
and even if you are, because Mars is going to be square Jupiter that day, so a lot of ideas are going to get kicked up too. It's also a great time.
Mars is motivation, Jupiter is entrepreneurship. So let's get those two things aligned. Let's get you in sync and fired up and clear. Whether you do Astropreneurs or not, you'll hear about it, but let's come and watch and come and raise your hand or just hear what other people are up to with their life-changing and world-changing ideas.
All right, eclipse goggles not required because we're not going to have a total eclipse of the sun at all. It's not a new moon solar eclipse, but blood moon howling, completely sanctioned this Sunday. Have a happy Labor Day if you're here in the United States celebrating, and
buckle up. Our monthly horoscopes are up for you to hear what is happening for your sign this month, and I think it's pretty front loaded, so let's all get through this week intact, and it's going to be a lot easier after this.
Breathing room, but yeah, as if it couldn't get crazier. We'll see you next week, and thanks for tuning in today, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to AstroTwins Radio. If today's episode gave you an aha moment, we'd be over the moon if you left us a 5-star review. It helps fellow astrology lovers find us. And make sure to hit subscribe and follow us on iTunes and Spotify so you never miss an episode. Want the full visual experience? You can also watch the video version on our YouTube at AstroTwins-TV. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at AstroTwins and head over to astrostyle.com to read your free daily, weekly, and monthly horoscope that we write for you with love. Until next time, move with intention and let the universe meet you there.